So these are a combination of my favorite cookbooks and the evolution of how I learned to cook in 15 minutes or less. So let's go. When I was in college, I guess my first foray into cooking for myself happened my senior year when I moved out of my sorority house and into an apartment with friends. And I had a friend give me this cookbook. I don't even know, some of these are so old, and I have to admit that I have not looked to see if they're still available or in print. So I will list everything in the description box, and then you all can go on the hunt, Amazon or whatever, to try to find some of these if you're so inclined. So the first cookbook I ever used was the 365 quick and easy microwave recipes. Yes, all of my cooking was confined pretty much to the microwave. And I have to admit, there's some really good recipes in here. And what I really like are the various sections. So there's snacks, appetizers, sandwiches, soups, chicken, what to do with a pound of ground beef, other meats you really can cook in a microwave, fish, pasta and grains, veggies, things to do with a baked potato, breakfast, and desserts. And some things probably have changed over the years. Microwaves, I'm sure, I know, have evolved. But this is a really great cookbook to give to a college student or something like it that's microwave based. And it's mostly designed to be entrees for 1 or 2 people. There are some serves 3 to 4 or even 6 to 8, but this is great for college students. So this was my first trip into cooking. Then when I got married, I still couldn't cook at all. Most of our meals were some sort of hamburger helper based meal, and there's nothing wrong with hamburger helper. The sodium content will kill you, but it's a good start. At least my husband was fed. He didn't starve, but I don't know that it was the healthiest option. At one of my wedding showers, I got this cookbook, I think actually from my future sister-in-law or my future mother-in-law. They didn't inscribe anything. And this has sort of become my holy grail. If I'm not sure what to do with a certain type of meat, how long to cook something, how to prepare a certain veggie or whatever, it's this book, and I know this is still around. It's the New Basics Cookbook. It's from the authors of the Silver Palette Cookbook, which is another really famous cookbook, and I mean, it's been well loved. And what's really great about it are things like it gives you not just recipes, but in the back it gives you the basic things that you need in a panic-proof kitchen, what you should carry in your pantry, a conversion chart. And here's something, okay, I'm trying to find. So you have a cut of meat and you don't know what to do with it. They have, okay, here's the meat market one. They have all the different kinds, how to store it, how to cook it, the different types of cooking, broiling, pan broiling, and so forth, and it tells you which cuts of meat to do and how long. And for vegetables, it has kind of a similar thing, like it lists the different kind of, like here's a whole thing on asparagus. What to look for when you're buying it, how to store it, how much per person typically feed someone, how to prepare it, different ways to prepare it, different seasonings for the different varieties, and it does it for every vegetable and fruit you can think of. So this, everyone should have, everyone, no matter from the experience to the brand new chef, should have this in their thing. Then I started teaching school, and I started hanging out with a lot of women who are moms already and married and all that, and the Pampered Chef craze was really at the height, I think, and that was in the late 90s. This truly, honestly, is what taught me how to cook because not so much going to the parties, that was fun, but and you get to eat a lot. And also, my husband was in the Air Force, all the officer wives parties, we went to a gajillion of these Pampered Chef things. So between teaching and military stuff, I got bombarded with Pampered Chef. And what's great, and I still pull these cookbooks out, what's great is they make these little they were $1 back then. I haven't bought these in years, but I bet they're not that much more expensive. And it's just a season's collection of recipes. Like this one was from spring, summer 2001, which may have been the last one I bought. And what's great about these recipes is that it lists not just the ingredients, but it also in the directions will tell you use this tool to do this. So for instance, I still use this one, the Busy Moms Cookbook. I come back to that a lot. There's one recipe in particular that I enjoy from here. Where is it? Just bear with me. Down Home Barbecue. Love it. And I make this all the time, and my kids and my husband ask for this all the time. So it gives you the picture, your little shopping list, the pantry items you're going to need. And it's barbecue chicken that you bake in the oven, sweet potato fries, which I cheat and I just buy the frozen ones, corn sticks, and fresh pineapple and strawberries, and milk. And, you know, here's a typical, I'll just read this to you really quickly. Preheat oven to 400. Okay, we can all figure out how to do that, except my husband. He does not know how to turn on the oven. But anyway, and a classic 2-quart batter bowl. Okay, if you don't own a classic 2-quart batter bowl from Pampered Chef, you know you need about a 2-quart size bowl. So yay, okay, go find one of those. Combine all the ingredients, add that. Place in a deep dish baker. Okay, even if you don't have the Pampered Chef deep dish baker, you can go online and Google and see what that looks like, and then see what you have in your kitchen. This is how I taught myself how to cook. Pour over the top. So basically, I learned what tools to use as I cooked, which was, to me, the big mystery. And I still do go back to this all the time. Now, I'm a little more evolved in my cooking, but the next stage was an obsession with Food Network and an obsession with all things Martha Stewart. So I also got this cookbook, and you can see it's filthy because I use it all the time. The Martha Stewart cookbook, it's her classic one, and I don't use a lot of these recipes because frankly they're a little too foo-foo for me, but there are a handful that are really good. Her desserts are fabulous. I do use her banana bread recipe religiously, and I will include that in here with some little added twists, so it's not completely her recipe anymore. But anyway, this is a good one. If you're ever stuck at a loss for, if you're at a loss for what to do and you have some funky ingredients in the house, this is a good one. There are some good tips in it. It's just one of those things you should probably have in the house. It's a good reference book, if nothing else. Then I moved on to Food Network, and I got obsessed with Sandra Lee. And I think part of the reason is because semi-homemade is very appealing, meaning a lot of stuff you're just buying ingredients off the shelf, throwing them together, and making something. You know, not everything is from scratch. Like, that looks good. Like, beef tips and artichokes with Merlot and black pepper gravy. That sounds kind of good. And you buy the wine. Okay, you're not making wine. But, I mean, I guess you could, but if you're making your own wine, this cookbook is not for you. Instead of getting the beef tips from the butcher or from the meat department, it tells you to go to get the packaged 17-ounce Tyson beef tips and a box of frozen artichoke hearts and Montreal Grill Mates seasoning. So you don't even really have to work all that. If you're working and you don't have a lot of time to sit and prepare something, these are great recipes because they're semi-homemade. The downside of this one in particular is we found out my husband has to have a pretty much low sodium diet, and really everyone should be watching their salt intake. And it's not what you add, it's what's already in the ingredients is what's getting people. And pre-packaged food, pre-prepared food, canned foods, those kinds of things have a lot of sodium in them. So that doesn't so much work for me. Kind of have to be a little picky and choosy. Nowadays, the cookbooks that I go back to almost every week, there are several. One is not necessarily just this one, but this is the one I grabbed. Anything by Giada De Laurentiis. First of all, I adore her show. I adore watching her daughter growing up in front of us on TV. I think it's adorable. I love watching her interact with her husband. My husband likes to watch her cooking shows. I'm sure for maybe a different reason than I do, but that's okay. Here's why I like Giada's recipes. They're simple. She doesn't go crazy with a million ingredients. Her recipes turn out the way they're supposed to. I think the best recommendation for a cookbook is when you follow the directions and it comes out exactly the way you expect it. I'm sure we've all had that time where we follow the recipe to a T and it still comes out disgusting. And you're like, but I followed the directions. What did I do wrong? That doesn't happen with her recipes. So any of the Giada cookbooks, I have this one, I have Everyday Italian, I think I have one other one. I love her cookbooks and I use them all. I use her recipes all the time. And then two more. This one is probably out of print, but I use it all the time. If you can find this, this was made, I stole this from my parents' house. My mother doesn't cook. And at some visit years back, I took it and she wasn't using it and she hasn't noticed it's missing, so. And this was 1985, so this is an oldie, but it's the Reader's Digest Quick Thrifty Cooking. I use this all the time. My chicken tetrazzini recipe, my spaghetti carbonara recipe, my all different kinds of ground beef, which we don't really eat anymore. The chicken croquettes, chicken breast with tarragon. I'm just looking at all the recipes I've made from here. Chicken scallops with marsala, chicken with mustard cream, chicken scallopini, we make a lot of chicken. Anyway, I've checked off like all the recipes I've made over the years. A gajillion different pasta recipes, there's casseroles. I always find a recipe in here. I love this cookbook. I use it all the time. I love it. I love it. So, yeah, I'm probably gonna make something out of here tonight. Probably. Didn't plan my menu this week. But anyway, if you can find this, it's a gem. Get it. And then lastly, this is kind of a niche cookbook. This was given to me by my husband's great aunt, actually. She was on the committee to make it or collect the recipes and test them or whatever. It's California Kosher. So it's a kosher cookbook. I don't keep kosher. For those of you that are unfamiliar with what kosher is, it's a dietary guidelines for very religious, observant Jewish people. I'm Jewish, but I am not religious or observant. I mean, it's a whole nother, but anyway, I eat whatever I want. I don't follow the kosher guidelines. But a lot of my friends have actually gotten recipes from here that are not even Jewish. They just like the food. It just turns out really good. Yes, there are traditional Jewish recipes in here, but then that's just one section. Then there's also chicken artichoke casserole, balsamic chicken, raisin chicken Santa Fe. Here's kung pao beef or chicken, curried rice, all kinds of stuff. And this is, again, one of those cookbooks where the food comes out the way it's supposed to. And I think it was put out by their synagogue, but I think I have seen it like on Amazon and stuff. So I'm going to, it has an ISBN number, so it's sold all over the place. Here's just a review from the back from the LA Times. Jews and non-Jews alike will find much to tempt them into the kitchen. So it's really good. I like it. There's my rousing recommendation. It's good. I like it. Buy it. No, it really is. And because it's a California kind of thing, the ingredients tend to be fresher, healthier, lighter, and pretty easy to make. And if you happen to be Jewish and you're looking for a little twist on some traditional recipes, there are lots of those as well. For instance, in the bread section, it has a whole page on how to make challah, and then it includes 3 different recipes. So, as well as recipes for pumpernickel bread, zucchini bread, Swedish limpa bread, anadama bread, natural bread, shepherd's bread, oatmeal muffins, and so forth. So, persimmon bread, what is that? Okay, but anyway, this is one of my favorites, and I do use a lot of recipes, not the Jewish ones. I mean, I do use the Jewish ones around the holiday time, but just their normal ones, everyday mainstream recipes, use those a lot too. Like here's one for sweet and sour meatballs. That sounds kind of good. I haven't had breakfast yet. Probably should have done that before I did a video on cookbooks. Anyway, I will list all the information below. I will list the title. If there's an ISBN number, I will list that as well to help you search for it. And I hope that this was helpful to you. And if you have a cookbook that you would recommend, put it below in the comments. I am always looking to add to my collection. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.